Hi, in this session just I want to explain some DDL DML commands. These are the basic commands, basic things I have to explain in the introduction part I have to explain, but at the time I didn't explain related to how to create tables, how to use DML DDL commands like create, insert, update, delete, truncate, drop. These are the commands. So I have to explain in the introduction class, but I didn't explain at that time because this is not that much important for interview purpose. That's why I covered the most important topics in related to SQL Server for interview purpose. Later just I am giving some inputs related to basic DDL DML commands in this session. Let's cover just for knowledge purpose. Just remember these things, how the background queries are working and how that commands are like insert command, update command, all these are working, right? Let's see any quick session. To create a table in SQL Server, you can use to create tables like statements. So in this basic syntax for the create table, this is the basic function. We have the keywords create, see, within the parentheses we give the column definitions as well as any constraints we want on the columns, right? See constraints. So we name the first column, so then we have a space and then we give the data type for that column. See, column 1 data type, column 2 data type, which data type, this is a number or string or which type the column will be contain which type of data. We have to mention constraints, any primary key, unique key, primary key, foreign key. If you want to assign, you can assign constraint name, primary key or foreign key, like that you can give, right? Null constraint, like that. That null constraint, if you give that null, the column did not allows any nulls. See, if you give the null in box, see, in this way you can create a department table. Department ID is an integer, department name is a varchar 50, 50 up to 50 characters and not null. And constraint pk department ID, the primary key department ID, primary key, just primary key department ID is just a name, it's a virtual name. And primary key on which column, primary key is which column, department column is the primary key. Primary key I already explained what is primary key, does not allows duplicates, it's unique data. Unique data you will find, and not nulls not accepted, though you can't insert nulls or duplicates into that primary key column, right? Let's see how to create table, use database, execute this table. You will like that you can execute create a table name, that execute the table will be created in the database, right? So initially there is no data while you're creating the table with the column names you will get. See, later you can insert into like this. See, if you want to insert any data, like insert statement, you have to use insert into that table name. DB is a database database schema. Just you can directly use the table name, which table you want, and that columns you have to give in first braces. You have to give closure brackets, like parentheses. You have to mention which columns you want to insert, and values, what are the values. First this like this, and second row, third row, like this it will work, right? You have to insert data into the table like this. and finally if you query the result, you will get like this, right? See, if you want to add any constraints like this, constraint, constraint name, primary key on which table, which column, right? I want primary key for park id column, so just I mention constraint. That constraint name, you have to mention one name like primary key name in virtual name, and primary key, use primary key command, and in parentheses you have to mention which column you want to use for primary key, right? Let us see. Primary key you already explained. It does not takes any duplicates or nulls. See, 1 2 3 4 foreign key, for primary key foreign key relationship, how you will, let's see. See, first create a foreign key. First primary key created, let a constraint foreign key name and foreign key for which one, park id. Here visit id, I created visit id for primary key for visit id, and foreign key is for park id here, and references to which table, it park visits, right? Park 2, I already created park 2 table. In that park 2 table, park id is there. From park 2 table, park id is the, its park id is initially we created park id primary key, right? Here uh, foreign key on park id. Here park id is foreign key, and references to table park 2, and on that park id, right? In that way you have to create, you can create foreign keys, right? Let's see insert statement. Insert statement, how to use insert statement. Yeah, already I told in insert statement how to utilize. Let's see. We also look how we use to insert tables. Insert, see, the syntax is insert into table name, column name, so we have to give latter values. Insert, the syntax is insert into table name, columns and values, right? Simply you can insert any data into table, right? See, if you want to insert some data into products, like product name, unit price, last updated, like that, product name is milk, unit price, like that, you can insert data, any data. You can create any table, like create table name by using that syntax, and you can insert data. See, values like this, you can update values by using comma, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, like this. Also you can use insert into select statement to insert data that comes from another table. From another table, if you want to select data, see, insert into table name. Here if you want to insert data from another table, here insert into table name, that the columns, table name, which table you want to insert data, and the columns, which columns you want to, and select column 1 column 2 from, select column 1 column 2 from table 2. See how to insert, this is important. Insert into table, which columns if you want to insert, those columns you mention, and select column 1, column 2, from which table you want to insert, that table you have to select, right? See, insert into department table, select department name, location ID from HCM departments where department name is equal to IT. Here IT department people, department ID people if you want, into the department tables you can achieve like this, right? Create table challenges. See few challenges, just take some challenges how to create table. Create table called department in the database schema, specify that columns department, create the identity property of the department, give the identity property to the department column, also put a primary key constraint on the department ID column, put a not null constraint on the department name, right? Department name here you can create. See, a not null constant is defined inline after the data type. After data type you can use not null, whereas typically primary key constant is defined after the last column as data type. See, write an insert statement to insert the following row into the department table. If you want to insert, see, you no need to do specify the department ID column in the insert statement because it is automatically populated due to the identity property. Populate the department table. Third challenge, which more rows, insert all department names from the HCM table. This is the third challenge. Later we will see the results. Here the hint is select statement, insert into statement to select department names from the HCM departments table and insert them into the DBO table. Note that you only need to include the department name column in the select statement, right? Create a table called employee in the database schema, DBO schema, specify the following columns. Give the identity property to the employee ID column, also put a primary key constraint on the employee ID column, put not null constraint on the columns you think need them, but a foreign key constraint on the department ID column which reference back to the department column from the DBO table, DBO DPT table. So just try to follow this syntax of foreign key constraint. You already know, reference parent table, constraint name, and foreign key references to parent table name, like that. Populate the DBO table which following two employees. No need to specify employee in the insert statement as it has that identity property for the heighted column. Use the standard format in digits. Just check the solutions. See, create table DBO department and department ID integer identity, department 50 not null constraint. So you have to check in table. See, DBO department primary key for foreign key, the data types and all you can find out, right? Challenge 2, insert the values, insert into DBO department name, value is business intelligence, right? In that way you can see. Let's start solution. Insert into the department name. Select department name from HCM departments. From departments table, I want department name into department table, right? Let's see insert. Let's see for table first name, employee name, first name, last name, hire date, not null, department ID integer. So like this you have to create that fourth challenge, right? Constraint, foreign key, references. Just practice this. And insert into fifth solution divided employee ID, first name, last name, values. These values insert it. Insert these values. Let's see. In that way you can solve that solutions and all. Here let's see unique identifier data type. How to use unique identifier. Let's get start. The unique identifier data type is a 16-byte binary data type that is globally unique across all tables and systems. Often people will refer to this as a GUID data type. That term GUID stands for globally unique identifier. GUIDs are written using hexadecimal digits. The hexadecimal systems consists of 16 digits to 10 digits, 0 to 9, plus the first 6 letters of the alphabet A to F, right? Total 16. Example of a GUID value like this. GUIDs are often useful in situations where you are combining data from different databases. See school 1 DBO students and school 2 DBO different database and schema. We want to combine all students from different databases, like see, select student ID student name from school 1 the database data and union all. Select student ID student name from database students. See, that's because we have some duplicates. We have student ID to repeat, so these two students have happened to have the same name, which is Jane, right? Union all do not filter out duplicates, right? See, let's now take a look at couple of ways we can generate good values, GUID values. One way that we can generate values for a unique variant for column is using a function called new ID. If you want to sequential GUIDs, then we can set that column to default values generated by the new sequential value sequential ID, new sequential ID function, right? Using sequential GUIDs can be faster than using GUIDs generated by the new ID function. Sequential ID is faster than new ID. If pricing is of a concern, then do not use sequential guides, right? Let's now switch to SQL Server Management Studio. Select new ID. Select new ID as GUID. So we just select new ID and then we have a pair of empty parentheses, and I am going to call this expression and go underscore value. See, if we run this again, we will get a different value. See, GUID. If you run this again, it will like see for support. if you execute and one more time, it will create another new GUID, right? Like this. So let's now create a table. Okay, table divided subject ID, identity, subject name, global identification, unique identifier, and go. For each subject name, global ID, it will give new ID, right? Biology, physics. See, different GUID will get new IDs. It will give new IDs like this. If you execute one more time, it will give another values. New ID gives some unique IDs. See, we just write down the default new ID. Let's highlight off all this unique unique identifier, how it will works. Unique identifier will default. See, it will give value subject to letter. It will give what happened. Wait.